There's just something about the old book tag that I absolutely love. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and today, guys, I am coming at you with a very rare and very occasional book tag. But before we get into this book tag, like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it does help the channel grow. You can check the description box down below for links to all my social media, including information about my Patreon, the Discord, my Pango Books Ambassador code. If you want a $5 off coupon off of your first purchase, that's there as well. And links to Blue Sky and Instagram and Goodreads and all that if you're interested in that. Now, with that out of the way, this is the Lore Keepers Library tag that was created by my good friend Brian from booktube. Now, I haven't watched Brian's video because I knew he was going to tag me. And I wanted to I didn't want anything to color my biases or alter my picks. Like, these are my picks. I'll watch the video after I'm actually done recording this video. So we're going to jump right in. It's a 12 prompt tag. I'm not going to be tagging anybody at the end, but I will have the prompts in the description box down below as well if you feel like doing this one yourself. It's actually pretty fun, and I had some fun picking out my picks. So number one, we've got the handy dandy phone right here. The fantasy book stack. What fantasy world is your favorite? Now, this is just like picking a favorite child. I feel incredibly guilty just choosing any particular one, but I decided to go with a fun one. We've got The World of Dungeon Crawler Carl here by Matt Denneman. And this is taken booktube by storm. But this is zany, it's bombastic, it's outrageous, it's got mantars, it's got a cool kind of video game feel. Our main character runs around in his boxers, wears toe rings and a bomber jacket, his cat talks, and she's an absolute diva. Like, I just love a world in which all of that is possible. It's fun, it's zany, it's dark, it's messed up, but at the same time, like, it just feels edge of your seat gripping. So we're gonna go with this as the first pick. And then with number two, cha-ching! We've got Fantasy Book Stack number 2. What magical system would you like to learn? This one's very easy for me. We've got Wheel of Time. Despite the fact that the men, being me, would go absolutely insane, it's still a really cool and intricate magic system that's woven throughout the world. There's consequences for the magic. It's got just, I don't know, it's nuanced. It's one of my first ones that I discovered. I fell in love with this at a very young age, and so it's got to be the source in the Wheel of Time. Now, I would prefer not to go insane, but, you know, beggars, you can't be choosers, right? Am I right? Anyway, next question. Sci-Fi Shelves. And that is, what is your favorite science fiction technology? This is very easy. It's going to be the lightsaber from Star Wars. I used to just daydream about having a lightsaber. I used to doodle lightsabers on my homework or old school papers that have been returned to me with my grade already on there. I would doodle lightsabers, and I did so for 3 to 4 years. It wasn't like a brief period. I've owned probably 2 lightsabers at this point. Not a huge number of lightsabers, but I am a big fan of lightsabers. So that's got to be the answer to that question right there. All right, we've got number 4, Epic Battle Adventures. Which books has the most epic battle scene? Now, I'm not huge on battle scenes. It's just really not my thing. But there's one series and one character in particular that has resonated with me ever since I started reading from booktube. And that's going to be Makin. Makin, especially in the 3rd and 4th book of Faithful and the Fallen, has some really amazing one-on-one combats, or him walking through a battlefield, just knives and swords in hand, as he's just going, and he's going to mess you up. Makin's battle scenes have stuck with me these last 3 to 4 years, and for that reason, it's one of my more beloved characterizations. Makin holds a very, very special place in my heart, so that's an easy answer right there for Makin's battle scenes in Faithful and the Fallen, especially books 3 and 4, Ruin and Wrath. All right, that brings us to the next question. Ka-chow! Number 5. book to number 5, book to adaptation catalog. Which fantasy book deserves a movie or a series? Now, before I would have said Cradle by Will White, but there's been a successful Kickstarter, and we're getting animation of that now. And another thing I want animation of is animated Space Bears. This is Wistful Ascending, Hybrid Helix by JCM Byrne. And, I mean, like, you can see him, right? You can see him. He's in space. He's in a yellow jumpsuit with purple highlights. It's got space bears and sentient spaceships and all sorts of goodness. It's got vampires. It's got sharks. It's got Greek god. Like, could you imagine all of that being animated faithfully? Oh, and because of the length of the series, like, it's going to be a 16-book series, last I heard from JCM. And, like, just, that's enough. That's enough for an animated series, especially if you do, like, 3 or 4 episodes per book. Oh, that would be fantastic. There'd be so much content to enjoy and watch. I don't know. I could get down with a animated Rowan, and that sounds like a lot of fun to me. All right, so that's number 6. Villains Vault number 1. Who's your favorite fantasy villain? And I'm going to go the Emperor in Yellow or the Witch King of Hakia from Jonathan Mayberry's Cake and the Damned. This is a recent read, so that's why it's just really fresh in my mind. And I think the Witch King is dynamic. I think he's interesting. I think he's definitely evil. And there's just a twist at the end here that recontextualizes him and brings him even more into focus. And now I'm currently on book 2, and I am gripped. I am on board. I am along for the ride. Please, yes please, more thank you. So we're going to go Witch King of Hakia from Cake and the Damned. Very, very good villain. I'm sure there's somebody else that I'm forgetting, but that's going to be my answer right there. Number 7, Villains Vault number 2. What's the most terrifying space fiction antagonist? And for me, I'm going to go with Will White's The Last Horizon series, specifically book number 3, where we meet the Deniss. D''Niss, Deniss. And these are like space leeches type of deal. Like they're planetoid size, and they latch onto like suns and moons and planets, and they suck the life force out of the planet. These are galaxy wreckers, and I think there's like 12 of them, and they each do like different things, and they can send out like swarms of bugs, and they're all as big as like spaceships, and they're all battle ready, and it's just this galaxy ending like threat. And despite the fact this is kind of a lighthearted, humorous sci-fi series, that's still really terrifying. So the Deniss gets my vote for sci-fi antagonist, because no thank you. All right, number 8, The World Building Wing. Which book has the most immersive world building? And I struggle with this because I don't know if world building is something I really latch onto all that much. But I went with Long Price Quartet just because it's so intricate. Not only does the world feel lived in, but the geopolitical aspects and the wars between the nations, especially later on in the series, and the characters and how they fit into that world building is just, it's intricate, it's beautifully done. And if one thread gets changed, like it's all wrecked and you're going to notice it. And this book series was just absolutely stunning and beautiful, and I loved it. And yeah, we're going to go with this one for sure. For sure. Long Price Quartet. It's a masterpiece. Absolute masterpiece. All right, number 9. Character classification. Who's the best chaotic neutral character? And I really struggled with this one because I could have gone with Omega here, but I don't know if he's chaotic neutral because, I mean, I guess he would be chaotic neutral. But anyway, I actually took this a different way. And I've got kind of 3 characters to talk about. One is named Skilgannon. The other is named Waylander. And the third is Drust the Legend. All of these are anti-heroes, but they are still kind of neutral. They will do anything. Like, they only oppose you if you oppose them. And I would say, well, I guess Drust could be chaotic good. Anyway, we're talking about the Draenei saga. I just finished up the Draenei saga with Swords of Night and Day. It feels weird to be done with it. I've been reading this series for 3 years now, and it's finally come to an end. But those 3 main protagonists in this series are just, they're all anti-heroes. They're all killers. They're all warriors. They're men of honor. But at the same time, like, they could go either way. They can do something horrific or they could do something honorable. So I think they're going to be my answer. Skilgannon, Drust, and Waylander from the Draenei saga. That's my answer, and I'm sticking to it. All right, underrated gems. What is the most underrated sci-fi fiction or fantasy book or series? And I mean, there's so many. I could have done Lillian Crow's Dreams of Dust. I could do Bloodstones by Tori Tekken. I ended up going with this one. This is Nomads of the Sea by Kobe Zucker. And I don't hear a lot of people talk about this. And from everybody I know who's read it, everyone has loved it. My friend Kay has loved it. My friend Tori has loved it. And I think they're the only two I really know who have read it. And Esme might have read it. I think Esme might have read it. But Nomads of the Sea it's a thick, chunky book. But oh my goodness, is this an amazing, underrated, undiscovered gem. And every time I bring it up, I think more people are going to read it, and they never do. And I just remember, this is one of the few books where when I cracked the spine, it felt like a point of pride because I was so immersed in the story that I was like leaning in, and all of a sudden, like, this one's got beauty marks on it because I enjoyed the reading experience so much. I want Kobe Zucker to release another book because I need more of this world. It was so incredibly immersive. Great battles, great culture, great characters, great magic. Like, it's just, I don't know, fantastic. Not the greatest cover, but still a fantastic, fantastic series. Really, really good. All right, so that was underrated. Reading challenges. What is the most challenging fantasy book you've read? Now, I chose this one because after I read it, I unhauled the series for about a year, and then I ended up buying it back because people said that it got better. But the reason that this one was challenging me is I hated almost everything about it. This is a book that I finished. You know me, I will DNF very, very quickly. I don't think this book particularly has any redeeming qualities. I feel like the author completely lost his way in this series to the point where he ended up trashing half of a book because it was going even more in the wrong direction and he had to rewrite it. I'm talking about Dark Age by Pierce Brown. I don't have anything nice to say about this book, and that's all I'm really going to say is this is a book that feels like it lost its way. It's got heavy abusive plot armor. The character decision, like there's characters in here, I'm like, why are you here? A lot of Here Comes the Cavalry, a lot of just shock value stuff for no particular reason. Characters acting irrationally in specific ways that just that are kind of contrary to who they are and their characterizations. I don't really have a lot nice to say about this, if anything at all, other than it's a good looking physical edition. I can say that nice about it. Everything else about this is pretty much a miss for me from a storytelling standpoint. And like, if the other books in the series were written like that, fine. But Pierce Brown put so much care and effort into the other books that this just, like, it started with Iron Gold going downhill, and by the time we got to Dark Age, it was bad. I gave that book 2 stars. And that was generous, in my opinion. All right, number 12, the last one. Library recommendations. Recommend a fantasy book that is good for beginners. I went the urban fantasy route. This is Benedict Jacka's Fated. This is a 12-book completed urban fantasy series, and they're all about this thick. This is 322 pages. So it's very, very short, not large text at all. It's very readable. It's got good versus evil. It's got some politics in there. It's got neutral ground. We've got different kinds of powers. A smaller cast. It's not as bombastic as Dresden is. It's more digestible and accessible. I really, really enjoy the Alex Vera series by Benedict Jacka, and so that's why I'm holding this one up. I think it's a great way to get into urban fantasy, and then from urban fantasy explore other types of fantasy from there. But that is the Lore Keepers Library tag, done and finished. Again, if you want to do this one yourself, description box down below will have all of the prompts. That's all I've really got for you today, guys. I hope you're doing well. I hope you enjoyed this tag. Till next time, peace out, stay magical, bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons. Thank you for supporting my passion and my hobby. It means the world to me.